Hello, universe. My 11:59 preferred sign-on time has found its way into the proceedings one more time, as we are, well, it's still the 4th of March for another few seconds. I have no reason to be signing on this late, other than the fact that I have no obligation tomorrow to deal with, so whenever I sleep, I get to wake up with no expectations, which are other than the ones I place on myself, which will not include getting up at 6 a.m. And I didn't do so well on getting out of the house to put my name out into the universe of candidates for stocking shelves at Walmart or some other pursuit today because, well, for one, I didn't have any energy to go do that. But more so, I got tripped up on a symbol that I had seen in a reference material, Hindu reference material. And then down that rabbit hole I went until I came back with way more knowledge of the Hindu historical record than I had going in. Not way more. Well, I mean, if you have 0, then anything is way more. And I don't know that I had 0. I probably had -1 because I don't think whatever I thought I knew about Hindu history was even accurate. It was, I think, mistaken across the board. So I walked in with negative knowledge and walked out with +1, which for me means I spent quite a bit of time listening to other people inform me about things I didn't know, and I spent so much time solving problems in physics or math or chemistry or even philosophy, to the point that I feel if I can speak to any fields of knowledge that I am completely behind the rest of humanity on, music and religion. And while I don't necessarily count music in that same level as sort of the lack of familiarity I have, the lack of use of my tongue I have, the lack of familiarity I have with most religious dogma and tradition and spirituality therein is from thinking it was silly nonsense. So I avoided it, and in my head I mocked it, thinking, you fools, you got better things to do on Sunday, but do what you want. I'm not one to tell you how to live your life. So it is, unlike music, where I did actually play, thank you, Mom and Dad. I wonder if that was all my mom, probably. Anyway, my parents were kind enough to present me with the opportunity to learn to play piano as a kid. It didn't stick very well. I've since tried to rekindle that musical spark, and I just have very little talent or skill or predisposition to musical arrangement, though I will say that's gotten better. So, along with my tennis game, I wonder if I could sit down and finally bang out the Moonlight Sonata without it sounding like it came out of a video game. But why am I there? I don't know. Today was kind of a get distracted anyway day for reasons that I didn't expect. So, what do you know? Here we are mimicking that in the conversation on the recording. Life finds a way, does it not, Mr. Goldblum? That's not the right note. That's not good. Hang on, I'm gonna pause. Alright, the correct note has been identified and is now sitting in front of me, but I've got, well, a couple other things that you don't need to play with me with. I'll be back. Unpause, but I need to pause. Unpause. Okay, I should get something to drink. Hang on. Okay, well, so speaking to my always trying to save every second of possible time before doing something, always barely on time, if ever on time, but usually very late. Hey, that guy, you are incapable of always presenting yourself in a ready-to-go fashion, and you constantly suffer from trying to rush and get out the door without having planned well and forgetting something that you needed, or getting somewhere and not even having brought the element necessary to deal with wherever you happen to be. And you don't even want to admit to anybody who might still think you have something of value to say how many times you've done that one. So, I do have a problem with always being last minute or just late. That is a bad habit that I was making progress on in January, and have, in the last week, made a lot of, I've regressed, to say the least. For reasons that are obvious, but that doesn't make it not worth pointing out, because I realized that all of the pausing I had to do in this recording tonight was because, frankly, I didn't care to prepare. I figured as long as I hit record by 11:59, the rest of it would work out. And I guess that overconfidence has started to really show itself as I have introduced a brand new variable into my re-listening, which is, well, if you had just listened to this today for the first time and only this and this alone, what would it have done to you? Would it have been a cold slap of ham in the face? And I have to say yes on most episodes, more than I'd like. So, yeah, I don't like... One of the reasons that I am always not finishing things is because if it's not finished, well, then you can't tell me I haven't done something because I haven't finished it. So maybe I'm still doing that. And so this is a work in progress. Obviously, this was something that I didn't intend to structure in any kind of way that would hamstring my freedom to speak my mind however it wanted to be spoken. In that way, I knew I would suffer the circuitous nature of these. I knew I would suffer the dropped subject matter initiatives that go somewhere and then never finish. I knew that I would suffer the what was I just going to say? Moments more than I wanted to. But if I put notes on paper, which today I did, because today's a review day, well, it turns into something that's much more mechanical and just point by point by point by point by point. And I am not believing that that is really the route this is supposed to take. My life feels like I had this 30-ish year period where I had, say, lost some part of my brain, and then medical technology caught up 30 years later and was able to repair the damage that was in my head and give me back the full skill set with which I worked. Because I always thought that I was just late to the party of showing my angst toward the world. Like, I was never a problem all through high school, and was, a pretty successful student and all around decent kid for parents to deal with, until about my senior year, when I started to especially drink more. But I started pushing some boundaries just for I need to get out of this house sort of feeling of life. It all felt natural. It all felt, if anything, a little late, and maybe a little lacking in momentum or intensity, because I never felt all that disconnected from the home life, clearly. But I did feel some level of wanting to not be under the wing of constant, this is how that should have been done. And yet the minute that I ever learn how to do this without making it a process of complete annoyance for the listener, well, that will be a minute I can't even imagine will happen in the next year, because I make mistakes recording myself to the point that if I were to grade myself an F on anything, it would certainly be my use of my own phone and headset assembly and various microphones that none seem satisfying. But the shutting off of the phone when I didn't intend to means that I've now lost my train of thought. No, I haven't. I do remember what I was speaking about. I was saying that that I felt like once I had the opportunity to show the world that that freedom was going to be realized in some sort of glorious ascendancy to the Senate, well, it turned out I kept just having these coughing fits like my dog. And I couldn't hack whatever was in my throat out of my throat, like my dog. Now, that was terrible. But it was a fair, metaphor for what it felt like to continually think that you were just phasing. You had never been really in a position to feel like you had to be defiant toward authority, or climb to the top of the hill, knock a few of your friends around to show them who's the boss, or even to dominate this or that. Those were never feelings that you had. And yet, I think, when I look back on life, I can say that I was trained to think that I should have those thoughts, because I always thought they were missing. And I do believe that if I had been told that, well, yes, that's true that most of the fellas around here have a lot of that testosterone stuff, but it seems like you, given your pedigree for weepiness, probably don't have as much. Now, we don't mind if you have, you think of men. Oh, you don't think of men. Well, you are a combination of, you're like a finding a teacup next to a dinosaur bone. What the hell are you, bro? Well, yeah, what the hell was I, right? And then figure I'll just get married, get a job, have some kids, throw the football around the yard, and call it a life. And because that's what everybody falls into. So I guess that's what we do. This will all just stop. I'll stop being so angsty about everything. But no, it wasn't that easy. And it's not like there wasn't these continuous opportunities to make the simplest of life come true. They were there always. And no, I couldn't do it. And still, I thought I could believe in myself and the systems around me to just start working out better. This just will work out better this time, when I'm doing exactly the same thing, or something so without effort to change a variable to see if maybe we can stop these patterns from occurring again. No. I might have met a blonde instead of a brunette this time, but we were going to have the same 2 months of, let's just say, my patterns as a guy who has 5 breakups in month 20 and no month 21 anniversary parties. Well, They were pretty well defined. And one of my patterns that was completely well defined, that I never could pay attention to, was I will not be fitting in to what is here to be fit into. No. And the more I try to think I'm just too thick-headed, too jealous, too insecure, too weepy, too smart for my own good, whatever excuse of the day I could give myself to think I just need that to stop so I can fit in, or I just need to suppress that around all these other people so they won't know that that bothers me so that I can fit in. None of it was ever going to work. In fact, if anything, the one little bit of persona that felt like it might fit me was court jester. And so I wore the suit of occasional ne'er-do-well, occasional prank player, occasional whatever, comedian full-time, the guy who was capable of the mischief. And that helped me justify my seeming nature of lies, helped me justify my nature of thinking everybody else was cannon fodder on bad days, or, I don't know, public bus passengers on good days. I'm not sure. But I certainly never felt connected because I couldn't connect to myself. How was I going to connect to another person or to any concept of what it is to be part of a community of humans or humanity? All that shit was just, yeah. Then it was just so not there. It was just a way to tell myself that at least I knew nihilism, chaos, and anarchy were concepts of the true nature of what this human life is like. And so it goes, right? As you discover who you are, if it turns out that you're sort of the mid-level corner crack dealer type personality, well, no, because I couldn't be the corner because I didn't have that kind of territorial presence. No, I'd be that guy's go get me a hot dog guy. Right on, bro. I'll be back. You want ketchup? Onions and mustard? Right on. You mind get one? No, I don't need one. Nah, cool. I'll bring you two, in case you decide you need two. I'll bring you one. Yeah, I'll be right back. So that guy does not run the corner. And ultimately, what was the point of even trying to construct a mold that looked like it fit into society and just sort of put it on every day and wear it around and say, well, you know, this is what I am. I'm a bureaucratic mid-manager at the Department of Government Nonsense Division of I don't know what I do for a job. I don't know why I'm doing this job. I didn't target this job. I just do this job. That's how it always felt like life was just going to end up in some sort of mediocre puddle of whoops. How'd I get down here? So, again, that all seemed like I'd earned it or not earned it. It was better than I probably deserved, and I was lucky that I hadn't done more damage than I'd done. I'd sit there and think, why me? Why me? Why was I such a knucklehead that I can make it work? Why? And it took the direct daily best friendship of a delusional schizophrenic off her meds to show me it was time to stop being such a douchebag. Stop feeling sorry for myself. Stop thinking I was problematic. Stop thinking I had failed. Stop thinking I had done anything other than find myself continually not fitting in to a system I was probably never going to fit into, because I had been trained to think in a way that made me see the whole system as the South Pole magnet to my North Pole magnet, and I gave up. Wait, no, we'd both be North Poles, right? Yeah, obviously. Anyway, that's why I don't talk magnetism, because I don't really know what I'm talking about, even though, do look at that pole shift if you haven't. That's concerning. The pole shift aside, I am someone who, I'm the very definition of the person who will think that if someone else has told me this is the way it works, well, good, all right. I don't have to figure that out. I'll just go with it. That sounds awesome. Hey, there's no God. Hey, there's this thing called math. Hey, there's this thing called a lawnmower. And hey, you're going to go mow the lawn. Okay, I got this all figured out. I mow the lawn, I get to eat dinner. Then I get to sleep in that bed and sneak out at night. Okay. And so if you get here, and because of the messaging that this society inundates you with, to start getting you into a mindset that isn't you, and then you happen to be in a situation where you have some occurrences happen in your family structure that are just subtle, but the kinds of things that reinforce those messages to make you think you have learned something about the world at 7. And in fact, what you have done at 7 is learn that if you think that is how the world is going to work, and you ingrain that now, well, you are going to be taking a good 40 years to say, damn it, why am I doing that? Why did I do that? Why am I acting like this? What did I do? Why did I say that? Why did I even do this? Why did I decide to walk off my job again 2 months in? Well, because for the first time in my life, I stood up for myself when I was being abused. I mean, I was basically in a hostile work environment for most of the time that I was there. And I'm not overreacting to that. I know what I'm talking about. And I do not speak these things in small measures. Now, can I put up with that? Of course I can. But I didn't. Because for the first time ever, I absolutely would not allow the world to tell me I was a problem. And, okay, this is like, listen, you're learning lessons like a 12-year-old, bro. I know. I'm like, I am. But that's why I like the idea of chunking out those puberty years and just calling it, those are my dark matter years, my dark energy years. And here we are now. And I'm like that 6-armed blue elephant-looking thing from the Hindu gods. I'm just a party waiting to happen. And yet, I cannot sit here and say that with that party comes me saying, oh, it's my fault, I'll clean that up, when I know, in fact, no, it's not, and I didn't have anything to do with it. In fact, the only thing I can say is I've identified a mess. I know the only person in the room who didn't do it is me, and yet I have no impulse to go clean that up on behalf of everybody else like I always used to. Now, if nobody else wants to take credit for it, well, yeah, I'll clean it up. Somebody's got to do it. Whoever you are that's hiding, I can't say that I don't understand that. I might have done that at some point, been too embarrassed to say, hey, that's my mess. I just got here, though. I don't know any of you. Oh, I'm embarrassed. I'm going to go. So, I don't begrudge you leaving me the work to do. I don't. But I also am here to say I am not going to just determine the best route of action going forward because I want us all in on the game. I want us all to be thinking, what are we doing to make things better? And if it is a one-man show, well, I'm going to It's going to take some time. But it's an energy that I know I didn't think I'd left to give the universe. Just 5 years ago, I'd have told you to get the hell out of my room and give me back my goddamn lighter so I can take another bong hit and not think about how much I hate life. So my trudging through a terrible narrative here, and you're dealing with the entire process, is for what reward? This one. Wherever you are, whatever you think, whatever you are telling yourself in your head is the reason that you're not doing better, more, happier, more fulfilled in your life, those are your fault. Just like they were my fault. And it isn't easy in today's society where we have so much change in our sensory input on a minute-by-minute basis to do anything to get you to step outside of that cycle and stop letting the hiccup style of life drive you nuts, because it will. And I'm sure if I have anybody listening to this on a smartphone, they know what I'm talking about. And we are not built for notification bells triggering us at 1:30 in the morning, 1:38 in the morning, 2:18 in the morning, 2:19 in the morning, 2:19 in the morning, 3:15 in the morning, 4:18 in the morning, phone ringing at 7. The rush of 21st century life was something, as a person who has no way to say no to anything, I had never even thought to say no to. And I don't say no to it, but what I do is make sure that I find some looping part of my week that I can make sure is cycling around on a slower time scale than everything else I got going on, which is on the minute to by second to by hour at the least availability and updatability and I do things like these check-in notes that I take because it makes me slow down. It makes me not jump into the next recording. It makes me refer back across these 10 for the errors and misstatements I make so I can correct myself, because my process is one to trust you to glean enough value out of all of this that you will not have to misunderstand me. Now, I give you a wealth of material to go mine through to see all the insecurities, securities, overconfidence, underconfidence, all my mistakes, way more than victories. Not because I feel like I don't have enough good stories to share too, but I do not want any shame or insecurity or guilt attached to the behaviors that are fine. I'm so afraid of being judged by the rest of you that I've sat in my room afraid to come out and even show myself. Yes, that was self-inflicted. And I have worked my way through that, clearly. But it doesn't mean that everybody else out there doesn't have that same trepidation, even if it isn't keeping you shut in your house. We are not a welcoming crew right now. We are not an encouraging crew right now. We are not a, hey, that's okay, buddy, it's just a mistake kind of crew right now. No. No, we are so uncertain of everything going on with ourselves that we certainly don't have the bandwidth to be forgiving and understanding of other people who might be splashing in the puddle next to me. Wow, dude, I'm right here. Why'd you splash on me? What's wrong with you? You look where you're going? Jesus, man. God. I wish I could say that I didn't recognize those reactions. No, that's not me. I've never done that. Oh my God. Well, I seriously believe that even if I somehow subconsciously sent an ESP message to somebody to say, hey, will you freak out today so that I can have a reason to get out of here because this place, frankly, it's killing me. I didn't have enough self-respect to be able to say that, you know what? The disharmony that I am getting in an active attempt to bring harmony keeps deflating my whole day. And then my next day. Like, the only thing I started living for 6 weeks onto a job were the 2 days I got off. Oh, man. This can't just be because I came back to work. Oh, God, it's got to be more, right? Check in with the other guy that gets hired to see if he's feeling similarly. Oh, my God, yes. He's feeling exactly the same way. Look for signs that I'm just overreacting. Try to find places that things are getting better. All I can do is identify things that are worse than they were last week. Okay. Simmer down. It's just blankety blank, right? But it's not. I'm not here to invest my time for especially 30 to 40 hours a week in an environment that isn't just mediocre, but that is a vibrational downturn significantly every single time. No. And I've never had the kind of self-respect to say no. And because I always felt like, well, you know, this is karma coming back. You don't throw golf clubs and not have to deal with it somewhere in your future life. I agree with all that too. So I'm not saying that my self-respect doesn't include the still self-referential moment of thinking I could have done some things back there better, but I still respect myself enough to not put up with this shit right here. Well, that's felt dead right since the moment it happened. To the point that now I believe it certainly must have been preordained that my time there would be short. Because 4 separate incidents can I name that in other incarnations of myself, where I wasn't so balanced, harmonious, and willing to be compromising, until you say, now that we see what kind of guy you are, get along with everybody, do a lot more work than everybody, and always try harder than everybody, well, we're going to take advantage of you. Oh, no, you're not. I'm going to walk out the damn door. So there might be some imbalance there that I should work on next time and not be such a look at all the extra work I did on my shift because I just want the clock to move. Well, maybe next time I'll sit around, spend my time on Instagram like everybody else does. Okay, let's see. This is now 23 minutes long. I'm going to stitch it together with the one that I accidentally hit stop on, so that I think was 4 or 5 minutes. That's 30 minutes. And I still haven't done the review of all my mistakes. And I'm going to be finishing this up now in 2 more episodes. This will be 51. 52 will be the summation of what I think I accomplished in this particular run. And then 53 will be what I think I didn't accomplish in this particular run. So, sort of a column A, column B review. Which, last time I brought a report card. Surprised myself with that even. So don't expect me to bring one again. But if I do, well, don't expect the same categories because I don't know if I can even remember them. Okay, this sheet is an 8.5 by 11 quartered, so that I have one panel that is a fourth of the page, one panel that's a fourth of the page, and I took the other half a page and had to, that's where I have longer notes. This is more than I have written for anything non-job related since ever. If you consider being a student a job. So we're not going to go through this right now, I can tell you that. But maybe I'll hit some of the ones that are worth hitting generically because they're not so attached to the one mistake I made. Okay, for instance, The only thing I'm trying to do here is make my life better. I want these recordings to offer me benefit, either in the ability to self-reflect, the ability to hear things that I only hear if I speak them out and then listen to myself say them, because I do not hear myself when I talk to myself in any kind of ranting at the NSA Walmart group way. I don't know what I said when I do those things. I mean, I was there. I was the one mouthing the words, but if you told me, hey, that was pretty testy of you, finally showing a little backbone there, bro. What'd you actually say? I had a hard time. Yeah, you don't even know, do you? Yeah, sounds like you. Yep, does sound like me. So, whatever these recordings are doing that makes me feel like I could get more value out of them, well, that's what I'll start doing. If there's anything here that I think I'm detracting from the value that I need to get from them, well, I'll stop doing that. That's about as far as it goes. I do not intend to have these sort of detailed notes ever again, ever. But it could happen. And if this turned out to be sensational compared to everything else I had done, well, of course I'd have to reevaluate and decide, oops, I probably was making a mistake coming as unprepared to these things as I was doing. But for now, I've got a year-long sort of money-back guarantee on this thing. So if I do not like what I'm doing in a year, well, then I'll ask myself, how many different things did you try to see if you could make it better? Well, I do. I do try to make things better. Always. That's all I'm trying to do. Trying to make things better. And I am also trying to help anyone out there who, for whatever reason, decided, I don't think I have it in me to feel like I can succeed in life. And given how many doors now seem like they're, if not shut, they certainly are a lot less wide open than they were back 30 years ago. Opportunities have not multiplied that I can see. I don't see a whole new innovative industrial technical frontier of work for those folks who are 20 to 25 right now. I know that most of you are probably doing web work and some sort of level of programming because, frankly, where else were you going to see an opportunity to see a future? So those markets, I'm sure, are starting to feel rather pedestrian and not so soul-fulfilling, but that's okay. It could turn around, and if it doesn't, well, time to go maximize your brand. Write that hit song. Fulfill the world with all your genius. Or maybe just start making some lists and getting some more shit done for yourself so that you can say that you're actually not giving too much of your time away to somebody else and getting whatever it is that you're here on this planet for whatever cosmic coincidental chance to exist right now, that you're making the most of that. You know what? Making the most of that did not include swallowing my pride and staying in a situation where I was going to feel worse about myself for every minute I spent there. Okay. Now, that puts me in a position where I gotta go get some other channel of income, or we will not be sleeping so easily as a dog because we'll be wondering, well, when are you gonna go get food? I gotta get a job, then I gotta get paid, then I can go get some food. We're looking at least a 3.5 hour forecast on all that. And that's another way that I'm always late. I never tell myself, I'll probably be there at 6, so why don't I tell those guys that I won't be there till 6:30? Then it'll look like I'm early. Hey, there'd be one change in my life that would be good, but instead of doing that, I'm going to end with, that does not look like the most intelligent thought I wrote out on this, but all right, we'll go with it anyway. Reverse engineering your behaviors that you are accountable for, that you made the mistake, that you had a mindset going in that you think you could change. For instance, not being confident enough about who you are to go talk to somebody who you might think you're attracted to see if there's enough substance there that there is indeed an attraction. Well, that is the type of behavior, the sort of I'm not quite ready to get on stage yet moment, that life is going to always have you juggling. Nobody is sitting there knocking it out of the park in every instance that they get to step up and take a chance to show themselves, and in that vulnerability expose themselves. Nope. Now, I know there are a lot more confident, cocky, and also put together people out there than me. I mean, pretty much everybody. So it's not as hard for the rest of you as I found it to be, but it's hard for all of us. And nobody, even you, Brad Pitt, is sitting there with a winning situation on every outcome with every other human being. We're not that composed. We all have our moments of insecurity, weakness, and did I do that right? Did I even say the word I meant to say? Oh man, did I fuck that up? Even Brad Pitt. But if you are unwilling to say that silliness I receive from my co-pilots, my other humans, is just that, silliness, well, it is. And what it is you're sitting here in this 3D experience, so you got all isolated in this body of oneness, and you're so used to being part of the fabric of continuity and goodness that the last thing you need to be told from the little shard of continuity and goodness that I am is that you look stupid doing that. You should probably quit. Because that's enough of a comment to make you think, well, I'm never doing that again. We humans have a lot of power with each other. A lot more than we know. A lot more than we would even believe. But I think we all know that that kind of comment can be enough to literally have somebody stop doing something for eternity. Well, I think I was pretty much the king of throwing those slings at my own self. Why are you doing that? You look stupid. What are you thinking? Why did you even open your mouth? Why didn't you just keep your mouth shut? Why do you make things worse? Well, if those voices are peppering your daily existence, boy, do I relate to you. And boy, do I know what it feels like to think, I can't wait for this to stop. Well, it can stop pretty easily. And when I go through all of this stuff in the next recording to say what this was about, and I can't believe that if I can spend pretty much 45 minutes talking about nothing, well then, this may be an 8-hour shift. But I will come a little less late at night. I will come with a little more preparedness as to even what order to tackle those panels in. And I will be ready to offer something that I think, hopefully, makes me proud of completing my second album, which I know is stupid. I don't mean to borrow the lingo of somebody who actually produces albums. But for me, that's the best description I can give it, because I certainly wouldn't have expected to complete one. The fact that I'm about to complete two, don't think I'm not flying on cloud 9, because I am. These are the kinds of little signs in life that make me know I am doing things right, because I'm getting things done that I mean to get done. So I have simple little 5-year-old life, and you have very complex, all kinds of vectors that you can't anticipate life. I get it. You got too much going on to simplify and make it all easy. But I'm just going to remind you that you only get one shot at being a human, as far as we know. And if you're going to take that shot and spend most of it thinking, did I miss that text? I'm going to think you missed a lot more on this little journey of being a human than just a text message. You might have missed the whole point of life.